Blessings everyone, this is Chris Kennel from therawadvantage.com, registered holistic nutritionist, raw food lifestyle coach, and raw chef. Today we're getting into my how to make your Vitamix into a vacuum blender video. Let's get started.
Baby, I like it raw. Raw Advantage likes it raw. Ooh, baby, I like it raw. Yeah, baby, I like it raw. Hey.
Alright guys, so this is a video I've been excited to make and I've been working on for the last while. If you haven't seen the previous videos about this subject, the first one with John Kohler, are vacuum blenders worth it? And the second one, the Vitamix versus the Flex Ion vacuum blender. Both of those links are going to be down below. You're going to want to check them out. It goes into a lot more detail into why I'm even talking about vacuum blenders, if they're worth it, the realities around vacuum blending, and then, versus the Vitamix, which I absolutely love the Vitamix. I've been using them for over 12 years. I am an affiliate, and if you want your own Vitamix, you can get some with your link down below. It helps out my cause and me to put out these kind of videos and do everything I do, so I vastly appreciate that. I also want to let you guys know, if you're new to the channel, come on guys, hit that subscribe button. I notice about 70% of the people watching these videos aren't subscribed, so hit that subscribe button, hit like if you don't like it, hit don't like, and hit that bell for notifications so you see when my next video comes up first. So getting into this video, the Vitamix blender, although it is one of the best blenders out there, it does whip a lot of air into the food that you're blending. In fact, they even have a special blade to aerate it to make it more frothy, and that's exactly what happens. When you aerate, when you blend in a lot of air into a smoothie, it makes it more bubbly. So one, you're swallowing more air, it's a little bit less dense in terms of calories and in terms of the volume. And then two, all that air does also affect the antioxidant profile. So a blended smoothie in a vacuum blender has a higher antioxidant value, and there are also other nutrients that go down, but again, more in that in the other video. So to make your Vitamix into a vacuum blender, you're gonna need two things, and I spent about $20 total to do this, and it's still in development, but I wanted to get to you guys my at least version A and what I've been using a fair bit of the time, because I do use the Vitamix with the vacuum, I use it without, and I also use my vacuum blender. All of them I find applicable, but I'm gonna go into how to do this, and then I'm gonna show you blending with and without the vacuum and show the differences. So I hope you stay tuned to the very end. So very simply, it has the regular Kraft, which is a non-leaching, BPA-free Kraft, 2 liters, really good, and a sturdy rubber top. Now, in order to get a good seal, you really have to push this on there. If you just put it on top like that, no bueno, there's a little bit of an air pocket here. You've probably noticed it yourself by having some stuff squirt up there. So you gotta really push it on. And what I use to secure the top and make sure that it stays airtight is actually right here. Check this out. This is actually a tub stopper. It's actually called tub stopper on here. You can get them on Amazon. You can get them at any hardware store. I'm using the biggest one they have. This says for drains from 1.5 inches up to 2 inches. It seems a little bit bigger, but you can see here on the top, it fits over it very well with some room to spare. And on the bottom, that's what it looks like. Now, attached to that, what I have is a vacuum wine saver nozzle. So I got this one actually off of Amazon. You can get it at a wine store, you could get it at a lot of hardware stores, maybe Bed Bath & Beyond, many different versions. This one I got for like $12. This topper was like $5 or less, $3, so this is actually about $15, $16. You might spend up to $20 depending upon where you go, but this is a really good pump that you can use on these nozzles, and it comes with 4 nozzles. So use this pump, we have this nozzle, and all I did was drill the hole through the middle of the stopper that is the same size as these little valves, right? And then I just push the valve on there. It's got its own sealing capacity because they're used for this purpose, generally on wine bottles, as you see, but then it creates a nice airtight seal on top of the Vitamix. Now, ideally, it would be a stronger, more sturdy material than this kind of rubber, which is pretty hard, but it's got some flop to it. You can see I was looking for metal ones and I couldn't find any. Ideally, what I'd be looking for is a metal one that still has a little bit of a rubber washer around it, so it creates a really good seal. That way it won't flex in when you're pumping it up, which you will see. So I did also look for those metal ones and I couldn't find any, but I did find these guys here. It's a pipe flange. This was $3 just to try it out. It's a little bit smaller. It does fit, but what I find, it doesn't quite create as great of a seal. It does work, but I can actually pull out more air using this rubber stopper. So I just wanted to show you my other experiment, and I'm still looking for a even better seal, but this is pretty darn good. So all we do is we put that on there, we really seal it tight. You get your stuff in there first, of course, and then you use the pump and you just pump it out and it sucks the air out, right? So that's the basic theory here, but we're gonna also put it to the test and we're gonna blend this up. Now, one thing that is a little bit of an inconvenience when you're making this into a vacuum blender. I mean, you can of course take this off and not use it, just use the regular top, and then you can use the tamper, which is really useful in some recipes to make sure that you can get a really, really thick texture, say an ice cream or a nut butter, or maybe even making pizza crust, stuff like that. But if you're using the vacuum blender, you can't really use both at once. So it's more ideal for smoothies and other things that have at least some moisture-rich foods at the bottom, so it starts blending by itself rather than really, really thick, drier kind of things that you're trying to blend up, you know? Maybe like pancakes or cinnamon buns or pizza crust, like I said. But we're gonna put this to the test, as I said, and what we're gonna do is we're first gonna blend 7 navel oranges. I've already pre-peeled them to make this a heck of a lot easier. And we're gonna do it with the vacuum first, and we're gonna time how long I blend it to make it even more fair. So we're gonna blend it until, the first one until it's perfectly blended. I'm guessing around 20, 30 seconds. And then we're going to do the same without the vacuum, and we'll see if there's any color differences, any texture differences, any taste differences, and we're gonna set that aside and take pictures as soon as we set it aside, and a half hour later to see if there's any separation differences, which is very typical with vacuum blending. So let's get started. We're just gonna fill this up with 7 oranges, already nicely pre-peeled. These are delicious organic navels. That's 2. I actually only brought 13, so I'm gonna do 6.5. I thought I brought 14. Boy, do I feel embarrassed here. Ooh, I'm a silly man. So we got those oranges in there. Of course, the more you have in here, the less you need to really vacuum up. But I'm having this for breakfast, so I'm just mixing these up. So again, you wanna make sure that this is really squished on there, super airtight, and it creates that complete seal in the front, all around. There we go. Put this right on top as well, right in the center. And then we're gonna just get to pumping. Yeah, it's already working. And you can start to feel as you're pumping it, it actually starts to get harder to pump. When you stop, that's all up to you. This, again, isn't absolutely perfect, and it starts to bend, which I'll show you right here. You can see the stopper's actually getting convex. It's concaving or convex, concaving, there we go, big words. Concaving in, right? So at one point, if I continue to go, it starts to slightly lose its seal, and then I can hear it just going like a little snake. And that's when I know, okay, that's about as much as I can get with this version of the vacuum blending Vitamix. And that is where it isn't quite gonna yield the absolute same quality as an actual vacuum blender that may have an absolutely perfect airtight seal and be able to pull even more out. No, we're still good, we're still good. Now you can also get an electric pump, maybe 30, 40 bucks I believe. But come on guys, you're not that lazy, right? It's good just to get some pump on. You can even switch it up, like, oh yeah, left pump. Got this left pump going on now. Yeah. Well, that's doing pretty darn good. I think that's gonna be about as airtight as I can get her. Yeah, that's about right. So we're gonna blend this up. I'm gonna get my timer ready. So you can see I have my stopwatch on here, and let's start it slow. I'm gonna turn it up very fast. So let's see, I'm gonna turn it on. hit the timer and then turn it up. That's what we'll do here. We'll do the same for each. So, turning it on, stopwatch. So, see, that's one of the issues here. We're gone 11 seconds already. Gotta really get that in there. We'll start it back up, do the best we can. There we go. Now it's going, now it's going. Turn it full blast. And stop there. So at 31 seconds. So that's looking pretty darn good. I have my cup here. Now this is one of my favorite parts. You can actually watch the level go up when you release the valve, so check this out. There we go. Goes even higher on an actual vacuum blender, as again it has a little bit more of a vacuum seal, so it can actually get a little bit more out. So let's just try this out. It's a very, very good. Fill that up. It's really delicious. Oh my god. Super smooth. So I'm just gonna put this one aside for tasting, and this one over here is gonna be my color and texture comparison. All right, so now we're gonna get it ready for the second blend and try and do this really quick so that the side by side for separation is as fair as possible. I did the vacuum one first because I really expect it to separate less quickly and gives it an even more fair kind of situation here. So put all these guys in there. To be fair, we'll do the same blending and end up doing the same kind of stopping around 10 seconds and jumbling it a bit, unless it just doesn't need it at all. So here we go, we're gonna do the same thing. Starting this. I didn't get a little soft, so just blend it a little bit better. We're gonna do the same amount of time. And now faster. Just to appease anyone, we're stopping it a little bit early since this did start blending a little bit quicker, but trying to do it as absolutely fair as humanly possible. So I'll give this one a taste. So that's the first thing that I really notice is the mouthfeel. It is literally like frothy and bubbly, and I used to love that. You know, Orange Julius was a smoothie place out here in Canada. They have them in the States too. And I used to just love how frothy they were. So here's this. You can already see a little bit the difference in color. Hopefully you can see that. This one's markedly more yellow. It's easier to see when you're looking at it here, which is one of the main kind of things that happens when it's more aerated, of course, then it's just not as deep of a color. But the frothiness and the color and the taste is actually really noticeable. So here's the second bit. And I'll do a side-by-side taste sample. I'm gonna take a picture of these two right now. And then in another 15 minutes and in a half hour, take two pictures, different colors. There we go. So this one here is the first one I blended. Wow, you can really see the difference in color from the top. Let's see if I can get a picture of that too. It's night and day. Now, again, I absolutely still love it like this. I blend a lot of food without using the vacuum top, but when I'm making smoothies, I am generally now using the top. You know, I'm using it without for thicker things like I mentioned, the pancakes and the pizza crusts and sauces that you know, for my savory dinners like curry sauces, stuff like that. I typically don't use it. but it does really make a difference. It makes it more liquid feeling, like because there's less air bubbles in there, it's just a smoother, wetter, more dense, more intense taste. You don't get as many burps or as much gas because you're not swallowing as much water. Yeah, like them both, but I would go for this every single time, most times. Okay, maybe not every single time, but when I'm feeling lazy, then I won't pump it. But most of the time, this is what I'm going for. More nutritious for you and more delicious. We'll let these sit and we'll come back and see how that looks. But I hope you enjoyed this. This is a very simple fix to make your Vitamix, if you already have one, into a vacuum blender. It'll probably work with almost any blender as long as it creates its own tight seal before you put the cap on top of it. If it doesn't create a tight seal, you're gonna have to look elsewhere, right? You're gonna have to find a way to make the actual top to the blender airtight as well. So I hope you guys absolutely enjoyed this video. Stay tuned to the end for that last update. And again, hit like, hit subscribe, that bell for notifications, and let me know below what you think and what you want to see some more of. I'll be your sugar daddy, your fruit sugar daddy.
So here you can see the vacuum blend on the left and without on the right, and on the top picture you can see it has a lot more bubbles after half an hour on the right, all those bubbles raising to the top, but you don't see a lot of separation difference between the fresh 15 minutes and 30 minutes on the bottom going from left to right.
Well, at least with this smoothie, it didn't make a huge difference in the separation. It does definitely with others. Dates is a big one that I could try as well, or you could try at home, but for the mouthfeel, the color, the texture, the taste, big difference. So I'm sold. I think vacuum blending is incredibly beneficial and useful and fun to do anyway, and there's probably gonna be more. I'm sure that Vitamix will come up with a vacuum blender craft in the future. But until then, this is a quick fix, super easy, and I hope you guys absolutely enjoyed this. Again, hit like, hit subscribe, and hit that bell for more notifications. Let me know in the comments below what you want to see more of, if you liked this. Any fun feedback's always appreciated, and as always, wishing you much peace, love, and seasonal fruit.
How to convert your Vitamix into a vacuum blender. It's only like 15 bucks. Ooh, don't forget to check out my raw recipes playlist in the top left, the video just for you in the top right, subscribe for more videos in the bottom right, and get your 3 free ebooks in the bottom left. Grab your free raw recipe app, available on iPhone and Android with over 100 free raw recipes, common fruit and vegetable calorie breakdown, frickin' raw food combining chart, shopping cart function, and so much more.